Welcome back to the show. I am honored to be able to share this episode with you. It is a live show, and we're going out on the road, and we're doing these live shows, and it's so cool just to kind of get out of the podcast studio and interface with people, some of whom I have messaged with for over a decade doing this podcast. They've been longtime listeners, and they came out to Charleston. Again, I've been emailing with them. I don't know what they look like, and this is our first face-to-face interaction, so unbelievably cool, gratifying experience. Thank you for coming out. We did this event at Head High Studios, which is this photo studio / art gallery in Charleston. Go check them out. If you're ever in Charleston, go check them out. It's a beautiful space. And then if you ever need to host an event, they're an incredible option. Head High Studios in Charleston. We had a phenomenal turnout for this, and it was largely because we had Cam and Kelly Richards, local icons, come and join us on stage. Cam is a name you probably know. He's a 29-year-old professional surfer. He grew up about 2 hours north of Charleston. He just finished second place at Stab High Japan. A lot of people would argue he should have won that event, but he also got a wave of the winner, like 2019, I think it was, at Pipe. And he was riding a board that his dad shaped for him. So we'll go deep into that conversation, show you that footage today. But his father is a local legend who owns Village Surf Shop. He shapes Perfection surfboards. He is a beloved member of the community. He's an icon shaper and really just an undertold story outside of that community. So I'm grateful to be able to help share that story with a broader audience. So I hope that you enjoy Kelly. Part of the reason that we were able to pull this off is because a local clothing company, Marshwear, stepped up to support the event. Marshwearclothing.com for your adventure wear, fishing, hunting, surfing. The owner Logan is a surfer, and so he's a great guy to be partnered with. The clothing's amazing. So check out marshwearclothing.com. And then Channel Island Surfboards also supplied us with a Michael February fish. And one local Grom actually won that at random, which is perfect. So thank you, Channel Islands. You can see back there, I ride Channel Island surfboards. I have a lot of them. So thank you, Channel Islands. And then, of course, longtime partners, VayerWatches.com will save you 15% by going through VayerWatches.com/surf Splendor. RealWatersports.com for any and all of your retail needs. You can actually buy some Channel Island surfboards there. And then, of course, the Surfrider Foundation, because the ocean needs more friends. So get involved, support their work. There's some really serious work that needs to be done this year with offshore oil drilling, stuff like that. So check out surfrider.org. And then lastly, we had a bit of a recording glitch at the first kind of minute or two of this. So we're going to jump into this conversation with Kelly Richards, talking about how he became the owner of Village Surf Shop, which was established in 1969. It's in Garden City Beach, South Carolina, just south of Myrtle Beach, just north of Charleston by about 2 hours. So it's a historic surf shop in the area. And again, we're just honored to have these two guys join us and to have the community come out. I hope that you on YouTube also enjoy this. My name is David Scales for Surf Splendor, and I hope that you enjoy my chat with Kelly and Cam Richards, along with my co-host, Chaz Smith.
Surf Splendor.
Deal with me that I could buy it from him with very, very little money down, and then just monthly payments, and then he didn't charge me any interest. Amazing. So we all know if you buy something for 30 grand at 7% interest, it's night and day to where if every time you make the payment, it goes towards a principal. So yes, Eric and me were best bros, and he completely took me beneath his wing and gave me a huge break.
Coming in, and I'm always curious to hear people's origin story. Like, how did Eric, was it the first shop in the area in 1969? What was his story?
Eric used to rent surfboards from beneath the pier. And then it's like his family owned the building, and they owned the mobile home park behind it. So I think his mom gave him some money, a little bit, to put some surfboards in there, some surf trunks and everything, and then it began to roll from there. But no, the first surf shop in Myrtle Beach was the Ocean Surf Shop. Okay. And I don't know, but if I had to guess, they probably begun their business in 1967 or something.
Are they still around?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But it's like the thing that pissed me off about that sand in the shop is I bought my first new board and I'm making a $20 payment. And so I walk up there to make my last friggin' payment, right? And I'm so happy. And I walk up there and Eric, last payment, and so I grab my board, and you think sand, you think beach. And I put the board down in the effing sand and mashed the pintail about that big, and I was trying to be so cool, like, okay, and boy, when I walked outside of that shop, I just bawled my eyes off. I mean, eyes out.
What brought you to the area?
My mom remarried, and I was probably in the ballpark of like 12. And we moved here, and then they all was probably here for like maybe a year or two to where I was probably 13 or 14. And they all moved back.
Arkansas.
Yeah. And I said, with all due respect, I'm fine here because, like, the first week I moved here, I walked out on my back porch and I saw like a 13-year-old smoke show girl. and
he was 13 too, by the way.
No, yeah.
Clear that one up.
Yes.
Pineapple.
No. I was I believe like a 12, so it was
better.
not like that.
She was an older woman.
So.
Next question.
No, and so I said, man, I've never seen anything like this in Arkansas before, because she's walking to the beach in her bikini and her beach towel, and I'm like, I'm not going back.
In Arkansas, is it common to let your 13-year-old stay behind? Is this a regional thing?
Hey, don't talk shit on Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's a sincere question.
No, it was 300% my choice. But I had begun to surf. I was in love with the beach. And then in those days, whichever restaurant you worked at in Murrells Inlet, right, was like a big part of your family. So I was a busboy, a dishwasher, and everything, and that they were actually my family. But there was many of a day in the 9th grade, Kelly was not at school yesterday because I didn't feel good. Thank you, Kelly.
When did you get involved in board building?
It was Dings first, and then probably 1980, 81. Okay. But I had worked for other people before then.
What was the first board you fell in love with?
The board I knocked the tail off.
So what was that, or who shaped it, or? And I'm also curious.
Merrick. Yeah. Now
What? It was a Merrick?
Yeah.
Really?
That's epic. Wow.
Yep.
Did
You
you
didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yep. A green railroad and wing pin. But building boards. We were building boards in the old bathhouse that was part of the trailer park.
So Village Surf Shop and then the bathhouse from the trailer park was
Yeah.
adjacent.
Yeah.
Redeveloped that into a shaping bay.
Yes, yes. And me and Eric and all of his family were all like a family.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I guess the other thing I'd like to have you illuminate is like who are the shapers back in that era, and was there a way for you to mentor under somebody?
Yeah. And the main guy was Eddie Donovan, him and David Knuckles, which I mean, this guy put Myrtle Beach on the map as far as surfing. You know, he won the U.S. Surfing Championships. I mean, tons of times. But those were the first guys that were actually producing surfboards to make money. And so I worked for them, and then me and Jamie Tuttle broke off to begin to build perfection surfboards. Okay, and that didn't last but for about eight months. Okay, so I bought him out. Okay. Yeah.
Was Gordon, so Blank Supply was really kind of monopolized back in that era. Was Gordon Clark just shipping boxes of blanks, or was there a distributor here?
If I can think back, I was buying my foam from Dave. Dave, sorry, I forgot. And I was buying them from Ocean City, Maryland. Okay, but then in probably 83 is when I would actually go down there and pick up a Clark foam and everything like that. But in the very first days, that's where my foam came from.
We're going to come back to Kelly in a little bit, but I want to transition to his son for a little while, and I might got another trivia question to tee up for the introduction to Cam. We're going to give away the Marshware prize pack. Chaz, you want to hand it out?
I will.
So the trivia question, get ready. Do not consult your phone to cheat. In 2016, the Hurley Lowers Pro held a video clip contest where the winner would win a wild card spot into the event. Despite Jamie Foxx and Jaden Smith taking to Twitter to tell people to vote for Cam, he lost to a semifinal to what surfer? Dane Reynolds.
Right there.
The fix is in. Cam, tell us the story.
Yeah, that was the story that kind of gave me a surf career in a way.
That was my introduction to you.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Cam. Thank you guys all for coming too. Thank you guys for coming to Charleston. Really appreciate it. But yeah, the story he's referring to, I was probably 16, 17 years old, and Hurley did a online voting contest via Instagram or the internet. And so I submitted some clips, and they're like, yeah, you're going to be in like the final bracket. I'm like, okay, cool. So we do it. The first round, I think I was up against like Aaron Cormican, and I beat him in the first round, and he was not too happy about it. And then the next
Did Aaron express?
No, he just wasn't too stoked to lose to a young kid. But then it got down to me and Dane, and just at the beginning of the day, I kind of was like beating him by a good amount, and we're like, oh, well, it might turn into something. But then I actually ended up going surfing at Lowers that day. And cool story, the famous DJ Fisher, used to be a professional surfer, Paul Fisher. He paddles up to me at Lowers. He's like, do you know what's going on right now? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, you need to go in and check your phone, dude. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, Instagram is crazy right now. It's literally all about you and Dane. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I go in and look at my phone, and my phone just went crazy and had somehow a shout out from Jaden Smith. I had a shout out from Jamie Foxx. had all these people just like reaching out to me and whatnot. And then I think behind all that was my dad and everyone here in South Carolina was just, they took it to the other level, because during that time, Dane Reynolds activated an Instagram account. He never had one till this day. So due to probably sponsorship obligations and, you know, didn't want to lose to a random 15-year-old kid from South Carolina, he said, all right, I got to create an Instagram. So if you look at Dane's first Instagram post, it is about me. But Dane's the man, and we have a good friendship now, and we always did. And it was very respectful the way he did it. It's just, he just kind of had to do it. And
I mean, it was an amazing moment. I mean, as a longtime surf journalist, like, of course, I mean, not of course. I apologize. I had never heard of you before that moment.
who did?
That came on, and I was on it too. I was like, who is Cam Richards?
Yeah.
How is Cam, like, but then also, like, you think, okay, this is something fishy. But then watching your clips, thinking, I kind of like Cam Richards.
I tried to find the clips actually to play tonight because I thought it'd be fun to see actually who. I remember at that time thinking you deserve to beat Dane.
Yeah, I mean,
think even Dane put that in one of his captions. He's like, honestly, his waves were better. Not that I'm not a better surfer than Dane, never will be. But I mean, just at the time, like when Hurley introduced this to us, we didn't really know what it was, and we just kind of submitted the clips, and then turned into that.
But which, like, I mean, for me, it's like one thing to have this kind of lightning in a bottle moment where the substance doesn't match the spark, I suppose.
Yeah.
But with you, it was like, oh wait, who is this kid? Like,
I appreciate it.
I mean, but it's true. Like, you rip, right? I mean, we all know ripping absolves all sins. But yeah, I mean, you ripped.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy day, and that day just kept unfolding, and it just kept going back and forth. And honestly, I think my phone died halfway through the day, and I wasn't able to do much, but I was, having to talk to Billabong, and they were helping kind of tell me what to do. They had to get everyone involved. I had Parco, I had Taj posting about me. Quicksilver had Tony Hawk, had Steph Gilmore, Kelly, everyone posting about Dane. And like, I had friends that rode for Quicksilver at the time, like close friends. They would post for me, and they were asked to take that down. And like, so it was a crazy moment, and it was cool, but at the same time, it was kind of scary to me. It was like a lot of limelight coming out of nowhere. And I just remember like going down to Lowers the next day and like seeing Kelly, and I was like, dude, like, because there was a few hate comments and stuff, and I was like, hey, dude, like, I'm sorry. Like, he's like, dude, I don't care, but you got some crazy fans, man. I'm like, yeah, that's the East Coast for you. Like, but no, it was really cool, and it did get my name on the map, and it was frustrating, I will say, for about 2 to 3 years. Anything that got ran of me or photos, it'd be a wave at me, or they'd be like, Jamie Foxx's friend Cam, and it got pretty old, and so I was happy to break away from it. As cool as it was, I was happy to get away from it.
And then we brought it up here again tonight.
Yeah, just
it's a fun story.
As the introduction, even.
But I always...
Cam Richards is friends with...
Do you have any idea why Jamie would have posted that? Jamie Foxx?
So Jamie Foxx, the story I know, a friend of my brother's is in the acting, modeling world, did a job with him or something, had his number, sent him a text, hey, do you mind posting this on Twitter? Said no worries, and posted it on Twitter.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. I never got to the bottom of that previously.
Yep. I wish I had a cooler story. Like, I played golf with Jamie. No.
Right, yeah.
No.
Well, I also want to let's talk about Hawaii. Obviously, you have a couple of iconic waves out of Pipe, and contest results and all that sort of stuff. Well, do you remember your first trip to Hawaii, and then also kind of walk us through that introduction of Pipeline itself, paddling out there, getting familiar with the spot?
I rode for Billabong, and so they would do these things called the Billabong Bloodlines Camp. But we would go out, me, my dad, and my brother went out pretty young, and was our first trip the U.S. Surf Team training, or no? That was our first, or was the one with Cole? I think the one with Cole when we stayed at Wade's.
Would you push him, Kelly? Would you like say, sack up, boy?
Not at all.
No, I'm not that dad. I'm like, if you want to go out there, go out there. If you're afraid, don't. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to walk away and go play putt-putt, we'll play putt-putt.
I mean, how old were you?
Probably, I don't know, 10, 11 would be the
Yeah.
first trip. And then, that escalated to Billabong would bring me out there. And that's when I kind of got introduced to like staying right off the wall at Pipe. So, work your way up.
Would you stay at the Billabong house there?
I'd stay at the Billabong house. So that was kind of the introduction. And then, just slowly, I did like a junior pro out there, I remember, when I was pretty young. I think I made my first heat strictly by going on like a giant closeout.
At Pipe.
Yeah, and I got like a 5, and that was like in the junior pros, it was 18 and under. So they would like score you if you actually sent it. So I remember that was like my first time, like, okay, that was pretty fun and entertaining. But
Do you remember the working you got? Was it bad or?
it wasn't too bad, and that's what I think kind of
Messed you up.
screwed made me have a screw loose a little bit. But no, it was good. And then I'd say one of my first real waves out there it took years. I mean, so many years of going out there and paddling out when it was super crowded, not standing up and getting yelled at by people and just not feeling that you should be out there. And then I remember I went out one day when I was probably around 20 or so. I was with Vissel at the time, and I got like one roll-in wave and like pulled into the closeout, and that was like my first time in like a proper big barrel. And after that, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to get one of these and like make it. And to be honest, I never really made like a good wave there at all until the 2000. You guys probably know it better than me. 18 Pipe Pro.
18.
2018 Pipe Pro. My first heat out there was the beginning of it. I never made waves out there until this wave right here. I got a 10 and a 9.
This is the 10.
How good did that feel right there?
It felt pretty nuts. I remember because the first wave I got 2 minutes before this was a 9.98, I think. And I was paddling back out and got that wave like in the channel. The only reason I knew to go on the 2 waves, I've never gone. These are my first backdoor waves, hands down. Like I probably never went right. And the only reason I knew to go is because a Ritz Aaron Brewer was in my heat, and he was paddling for him, but he was too deep. But I knew that if he looked at him, I'm like, okay, that might be a good sign. And so I got the first like 993, and then I paddled back out and got that one. And I didn't know any of the scores, so I had no idea what was going on. And then,
This clip doesn't quite catch the takeoff, but it's a little bit of a free fall drop. So the drop's gnarly. And then obviously it's a long kind of multi-section barrel, but at that last bit, it easily could have clipped you in the head. I mean, hands for a second.
Yeah, I've never done that before. That was all impulse.
Instinct, yeah.
Clipped you in your beautiful hair is what it did, though.
I know.
But
And I think I was I don't know if it was this wave or the one before. I was so new to this. I literally tried to do a rodeo flip after one of the waves. Like, who does that? Like, that's how like confused I was. I was like, this does not feel right. But that contest was kind of it was finally the time I was able to go out at Pipeline, sit where I want to sit, and go on the waves I want to go on. Because when Pipe is good, it is pretty easy to see what waves are going to be good and what waves you want to go on.
And so at that point, you had been out at Pipe for 6-ish
Probably.
years?
Yeah,
More.
6 years of trying. But to be honest, I wasn't trying that hard. I would like not surf it that much just because I couldn't deal with the crowds. And
where would you surf on the North Shore? I mean, were you Rockies?
I would surf, Rockies a lot. That was probably where, and then I would be too scared to surf Pipe. And you're not allowed to say that.
How
secret wave
was the Pipe? Was the Pipe fear people or wave itself?
People for me. Just I didn't want to be in anyone's way. I respected the local community, and I was at the tail end of you really had to show respect, and so was always pretty cautious and just wanted to earn my place the right way.
When you say tail end, that doesn't exist anymore?
It does, but it felt like a little bit more intense back then. To where now I think you can kind of go out there and get really lucky, and it's hard though. It's just so crowded, and at the end of the day, like, you're not going to go on the wave you want to go on. So you got to get lucky. And when your opportunity does come, you can't, like, blow it.
I'm perpetually, not to dwell on pipe too much, David Lee, if you would forgive me, I'm perpetually interested by, especially East Coast surfers who go to Pipeline and send it. There's something, I don't know, like, I'm always trying to get to, like, how do you do that? How in the world do you?
Well, we have a secret peak. It's called the East Coast Peak. I won't tell you where it is, but there's an East Coast Peak that now it's just something that I've always seen the older dudes, kind of would watch them. There's a couple older dudes from, like, North Carolina that I paid attention to, like Mark Yonkers, Rob Brown, Brett Barley, obviously.
Who would just, and so you would go.
There was a place in the lineup that I would see they wouldn't get bothered too much, and the waves they would get weren't that good, but then every once in a while, the right one does come in, and so that's what we used to call the East Coast Peak, but
God bless the dang East Coast.
Yeah.
You guys and your crew have something.
Is it second reef and you need a giant board to catch it?
No. That was the big board thing was a one-time thing for me.
Oh, okay.
It's just sitting pretty deep,
Okay.
really deep to where the good waves, like the proper pipe waves, like, we're going to be nowhere near. But every once in a while, you get the real deep ones that can be fun. The only bad thing about the waves, though, if it's not long enough, you get kicked out and you're, like, right in the apex. But that's the price we have to pay.
So is there just all, like, good Southern charm at that East Coast? You just paddle out there and it's just genteel.
Hey, y'all, how's it going? Nah.
No more, how's it, bruh?
I do
How
think
you
that us coming from the East Coast, we've obviously been raised very good, and respect is the number one thing. And I think they see that, and you put in your time, you do the right thing, and at the end of the day, they're all super nice people, and just they get it. If you put in your time and work hard and show you're there for the right reasons, you'll get your shot.
But you still got to pitch over that stinking ledge.
You do. You got to get smoked. That's part of it.
And you put in all those years that you already discussed to go through those. Obviously, we're going to discuss this wave. And before we do, I know you've all seen this clip before, but that board that Cam is riding, you know Kelly shaped that board for him. The question for the audience: to win a set of NVS fins.
Fine fins.
Twin fins from NVS. The question for the audience is, what was the occasion that Kelly shaped this board for? Boom! 19th birthday.
Wow. How does everyone know everything?
Yeah, they're
Before
quick.
the question is even finished.
Wait,
Yeah.
who?
So last night we were in Jacksonville and I had questions.
Who won?
The trivia questions last night, nobody knew the answers to. I feel like I went way too hard and deep. And 10 people would shout answers and they was still wrong. And then Justin's dad would answer the question. So tonight, maybe I went too easy. Your guys are answering before I even get the question out. So, of course, let's watch this clip first, and then we can discuss. And you guys have talked about this wave ad nauseum, so I'll let you guys just lead. But
That's a fine wave.
what?
Oh.
What? What's with this dropping out of this drop, that ledge right there? Blinded by Braille?
You knew you were making that the entire way.
We're
didn't you?
going for a second. We got a second angle too. Let's just look at it from this angle.
The second it pitched over, Cam Richards was like, I got this thing to the
By the way,
end.
audience, don't be afraid to
Easy.
express your emotion if you're feeling anything from watching this. Yes,
Genteel.
very stoic, I can tell. Cam, round of applause for Cam. Who wants to lead us off with discussing this?
I'll start it, and then I'll give my side of the story, and then he can tell his. But so he shaped me that board for my 19th birthday. I brought it out to Hawaii, or I actually asked him. I was like, "Hey, will you make me a board for outer reef waves?" Because when I go out there, I stay with Mason Barnes, which is a crazy big wave surfer from Wrightsville
Reality
Beach,
show star.
ultimate surfer, and also Grant Twiggy Baker stays at Reggie Barnes's house. Thank you, Reggie, for accommodating us. But so unfortunately, I kind of put myself in the situation of having to surf some outer reef waves, and that's not really my cup of tea. But I was like, Dad, will you make me a board for this? Because might as well. Well, the only thing he had was this Clark foam blank, and the best we could do was 8.0. So I'll be honest, it sat in the garage of Mason's house for a long period of time, and then it was the end of the year. I think I had to make like quarters to qualify at Haleiwa. I didn't qualify. I think contract was coming up, and I didn't know where my surf career was going, and I was like, surf pipe the night before and got smoked, watched Mark Healy get a crazy wave on his giant board, and I'm like, that looked a lot more fun than what I'm doing. And I had a flight out, I think, this night. I was heading home. Who knows when I was going to come back to Hawaii. And I said, you know what? I think it'd just be cool just to have a photo of me riding a wave at pipe on my dad's board. Just for him. He shaped me the board, might as well. So I didn't even look at the waves. I paddled out. Took me about 20, 30 minutes to get out because I couldn't duck dive the thing. So I got out way down the beach at Pupukea. I got smoked. Probably the most smoked I've ever gotten paddling out. And then, I went out and was chilling out there with Eli Olson. And I was like, I'm just trying to ride one wave, get a photo for my dad. He's like, it's kind of, if I was Goofy Foot, I'd ride a bigger board. Like, you can just kind of catch any wave you want. I'm like, you can like catch waves like this. He's like, go. I'm like, so I kind of start paddling, and like, I didn't think I could catch a wave that far out. Like, it didn't feel like you could. I'm not used to that. And I kept paddling, and next thing I knew, I was like, whoa, I'm like in this thing. But then when I was taking off, I was like, it's a closeout. But I was like, screw it. I'll get the photo, get out of here, and be done. And I just remember like the first like elevator drop. I was like, that'll be a sick photo. And then I'm like going, I was like, this is kind of sick. Like maybe if I doggy door, like it'd be a sick, like a cool clip. But then I realized, I'm like, this board is not turning. There's no shot. So if I try to doggy door, I'm going to fall.
Come on, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Got the wrong fins. There's a wrong fin setup.
Yeah, so I hung on tight and got super lucky with the last little sandbar section. And
I mean, it was a closeout.
It was, yeah.
It was a proper closeout.
But also, were you planning on nose riding that thing? How did you have the wax
he's actually a really good longboard shaper. He used to shape for Tony Savani, so I knew I could get way up on the nose. And
so you waxed it up there?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But then I came out and I was like, that felt pretty cool, but I don't know, was that a good wave, or was it just like I had water in my eye? And everyone began cheering, and I thought like maybe there's a wave behind me. And I began going in, and PK comes running down to the beach with his camera towards me. PK never really comes up to me ever, so I was like, something's up. And then he's like, how was that wave? I'm like, I don't know, I haven't seen it. And like he ran me up to his camera, and we watched it together, and I was like, wow, like it was a pretty surreal moment. And the first thing I did was I had my stuff at the Volcom house. I ran over, grabbed my phone, I called this guy, and I'm like, Dad, I just got the wave of my life on your board. He's like, that's cool. I'm looking at this house you were trying to buy. We're here now. Like, Cam, like, if you want to do this, like, we kind of need to get moving now on this house. I'm like, no, Dad, like, I just got the wave of my life. All right, Cam, but no, seriously, like, we're here. And I just hung up. And I was so mad. I'm like, I've never called this guy to brag about surfing whatsoever. Like, this is the one time I want to do it. This is what happens. So I send a clip off someone's camera and send it to him, and he calls me back, bawling his eyes out, crying. So
and bought you the house.
I wish.
Legit crying.
No. It's like the board is for sale on eBay right now, and
this is actually a live auction for it, by the way.
Yeah, and as soon as someone buys it, then he gets the house.
What was the inspiration behind the spray job on the board? The teal.
It was Vizsla.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a straight.
We rode for the Vizsla, and then the dude that airbrushed that board was the East Coast legend Reed Japinko, which some of the folks know him, but he was like one of the first pro surfers to put us on the map from the East Coast. And he worked for me for probably 25 years.
What can you tell us about the board? I mean, obviously, I know it was one of the last Clark blanks I think you had.
Yeah, what happened is is I had a friend of mine that was heading to Puerto Escondido. All right, and so he ordered the board. I ordered the piece of foam, which was, of course, from Clark Foam, and it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the 81R, and it was a rusty prison door blank. And this blank, when I say it sat for 25 years, it probably sat for 25 years. And then, so I shaped the thing, and then to go back to how near those blanks were to shape, pretty much.
Close tolerance, right?
Yeah. The only thing I had to do was take a cut off the deck and maybe one or two and put some V in it, and it was gone.
Where is the board right now?
It's in the surf shop.
In Village Surf Shop?
Oh, yeah.
How much?
Well, it didn't for sale.
Come on.
So Village Surf Shop, Chaz, you may
Call
not
us
know,
after.
is a everything has a price. You may not know, Village Surf Shop's is it a preserved, historic?
It is just in the last two or 3 years. It has become a Horry County historical landmark.
Historical landmark.
Wait, so does that mean you can't change anything in it? You can't touch it anymore?
As far as what I was told, if they widen that road, they have to build a bridge above us. Yeah.
Insane.
That's epic.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Epic.
You said he was crying when you called him? Legit crying?
Yeah, he cries a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That's
Let's
normal.
get it
We're
going
good.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Could get there.
Yeah.
Maybe related to this wave and this conversation, but Cam, I feel like you've cracked the code on how to be a pro surfer in the modern era, which is not an easy code to crack.
Jamie Foxx plus Jaden Smith.
Plus a pipe wave like that.
Just kidding.
Fatherly support is key.
Fatherly support, having a dad be a shaper, I think, is one of the major keys.
Yeah, not a lot of people have that detail. But so I will ask you kind of your thoughts on how you've navigated that, but just to set the table for audience. By the way, we're publishing this podcast to the feed, so to set the table for everybody who's listening on the internet too. Even professional surfers on the WCT don't have sponsors, and they barely make it through. And then free surfing, it's almost like you have to have a vlog or something. You don't really do any of that. You exist in this rarefied air that had a heyday where it's kind of like, let the surfing do the talking, and enough people will recognize it and worship it, and how have you navigated this? Do you have a game plan? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely find myself somewhat calculated in the whole professional surfing world. I've been lucky enough to have been in the industry through the surf shop, seeing how a lot of things work. He's taught me a lot. I think my main thing is it's a blessing and a curse, but I just don't say no to anything. Okay. And anytime a sponsor needs you to do anything.
And/or podcast.
And/or podcast, here we are. But no, it's just, we have the best job in the world. And if a company that's willing to support me and give me a bunch of free clothes and send me on trips, if they need me to come sit in a studio for 12 hours and wear wetsuits and try them on inside out, that's fine. Like, that's what we get paid to do. And it's just, you take every opportunity and you don't let any of them go. Like, you check them all out because you never know what it's going to lead to. And just when you have those certain times where either the waves are good and there's no one out and you got filmers, or if you're shooting catalog and there's something cool, like, just do it all. And like, now especially, you can't just be a good surfer. You got to be somehow you have to learn how to edit videos. You got to learn how to do all the social media stuff. And like you said, I don't really dive into any of it. I kind of just dip my toes in all of it. But yeah, I think my main guidance is I'm so lucky to have the job that I do, and you might as well just keep saying yes. And yeah, here I am. So
Are you still saying yes to the QS?
I'm saying no to the QS, but that's
Let's get a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
The QS doesn't ask you, though. The QS never asks you for anything besides money. But no, I love competing, and it's awesome. I just struggle, weirdly enough. I know people say it, like, oh, you're from South Carolina, you should be good, but I can't compete in small waves. I have a lot of trouble. And
What is it? Is it like caring?
I definitely could care more, for sure.
I mean, if you cared more, though, if you were like, okay, we're going Rocky here.
I don't know.
If I was going to be in your corner.
There's a lot of people that care a lot, and it still doesn't work for them. But no, I mean, I do think I could use a lot more motivation, and it could get me somewhere.
I got you.
But thanks.
I'm going to be down on the beach with a towel around my neck.
Yeah.
No,
Let's go, Cam. Let's get it.
no, Cam, which is completely cool because it's just not him, but me and Cole, his brother, is like, why in the hell didn't he kind of semi-claim that wave a little bit to get the judges going? But Cam's just like, that ain't how I roll.
Well, there's a story behind that, if you guys got a second. I've only claimed one wave my whole surf career, and it was the U.S. champs at the NSSA National, or U.S. champs at lowers. Me, Kanoa Igarashi, Griffin Colapinto, and Taylor Clark. I needed a 9.5, or no, I needed a 9.7. I got it right. I did 15 turns. I've never claimed. I didn't know what to do, so I gave myself a round of applause and fell back. I'm like, because what else can you do? I got the score. Paddled out. I got a 9.56. Didn't get the score. From that point on, I have never if someone can show me a video of me doing it legitly, good job. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever claimed a wave ever since then. I got scarred.
How hard is it not to claim a wave sometimes?
I mean, that was pretty hard.
I know.
To not
This one,
claim.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. It was weird. I even had, even at Stab High a couple weeks ago, I know after the stale fish I did, kind of wanted to, but I have a weird, creepy grin on my face and keep my hands to my side. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm not against it. I think it's cool to be passionate. I think it's awesome, but it just didn't work for me that one time, and it kind of messed me up.
If you were going to do a claim, what would your claim be? Can you do it now?
No, I don't claim,
Would be
I can't claim anything. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know what to do with my hand. I'd be like Ricky Bobby. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my claim story, but I'm not against them. I think they're sick, and it's just I got scarred.
Did you go to Stab High with Cam?
He was Stab High.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what so I watched. I'm embarrassed to admit I watched it after the fact. I didn't watch it live, but I heard you were incredible on the mic. You stole the show.
They already invited him to Sydney. I don't think I've got my invite yet, but they invited him. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of blows my mind is why does everybody pick on the kid that has a speech impediment?
You're not a kid, bro.
It's the best.
but yeah, those guys are super fun, and everyone is just having fun. So there's no one trying to. They're all just friends, and it's fun.
Well, Julia from Marshware and I were talking earlier, and I was like, when surf contests started, it was just a festival. It was like, let's just get together because we all like the same thing. We'll pick a winner at the end of it, I guess, because we have to. But that's really not what it's about. And it feels like Stab has tapped into that a little bit, and they just throw a great party. Yeah. And it does progress what they're trying to do. We're going to try to do the best air, but
yeah, and it's like that. You hands down see your best surfing is when they're not surfing for their rankings. Right. They're surfing to take home the purse. But if they don't take home the purse, then everybody goes out and has beers, and everything's cool. Though comparable to where if you're competing, your head's like, okay, I got to get past this heat to get some.
And we don't have to worry about the next event like everyone else does. We don't have to worry about the mid-year cut and all that. So
it feels almost antithetical to the goal of progressing surfing. Once you're thinking about those other things, it undermines
For sure.
the effort.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say, Cam, about Stab High Japan, or just? I'm also curious to hear about. There's an ongoing conversation about wave pools in general and the value of them and whether or not they help progress or, work on aerials. What are your thoughts on the event and what was your experience?
Yeah, I think the event was awesome. I'm pretty big into skateboarding. I love it. Used to live with current caples, and so I've been to skate events and just how much fun everyone's having and like how everyone's pushing each other, and just like we don't ever get to really have that aspect in surfing, because if you're surfing with someone free surfing, he's like a mile down the beach. You don't know what he's doing. I don't know, that event, it just felt like we were all like pushing each other, and like it was just fun. And like he said, we didn't care really. We all wanted to win, but like if someone landed something cool, everyone actually genuinely seemed happy. Not like, hey, good job, and we all know they didn't mean it. But so yeah, I thought the event was awesome, and hopefully that trickles down to just be more and more fun events like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of wave pools, and I do think they are progressing. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's been an event that people have landed more airs than that event right there. And even stuff like, I know Albie, he's like, I've never landed a tail grab like that in my life. Like, so I don't know. The proof's there for sure. And I think it's just only going to get better. I think if there's any way they can relieve a little pressure off of us, whether it's give us more waves or whatnot, I think that's when you'd begin seeing, like, because you are there, there is the little bit of competitive mindset. Like, you don't want to go there and fall on every single wave and then be done. But so yeah, I think it's just going to get better and better. And
How much does it translate to your ocean surfing, what you do in the pools?
I'd say a good amount. I try to do airs most of the time. If I'm not getting barreled, it's probably my second thing I'm doing. And yeah, it just teaches you what you actually are consistent in. Like, for example, you never really would try a stale fish in the ocean because it's like seems so, but like after going to the pool so much, I've kind of realized like that's something I can land just as easy as a normal one. So yeah, just gives you a peace of mind.
I was glad to see that you guys went together. Do you guys ever do surf trips together? Do you get the opportunity to? I don't know what your daily requirements are at Village Surf Shop, if you have to be there Monday through Friday or.
I have been very fortunate, and and I'd like to give a shout out to Brian Campbell, because he worked for me, and he ran that shop, and now me and him are partners in the surf shop, and then I'm the surfboard. So I'm enabled to do what I do, to be the Ronald McDonald, to be here, right? And the best gift that Brian gave to me is I could go with Cole and Cam to the NSSA Nationals for 2 weeks. I could go with them to Hawaii, and everything was took care of. And of course, that's very hard to find.
So yeah, we've been able to do a lot of trips together, obviously growing up. But I will say, this last year, I've been able to, because of the partnership, thanks to Brian, I got to bring him to the Pipe Masters. Was my board caddy at the Triple Crown at 10-foot Sunset.
Were you out in the water, Kelly?
Oh yeah, he was.
That's epic.
Yeah, so that stuff.
Where else would it be?
I mean,
I can't get a backup board on the beach.
Some of those board caddies sit on the beach, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
But no, he was in the water on a 6'4" pinned out gun that he could barely paddle. But it's just one of those things, you got to, at the end of the day, professional surfing it's the best job in the world, but it's also, you got to have fun. And if you go about it so like serious and tennis, and you miss out on opportunities like that, like, I don't know why you're really doing it. So.
But I had no desire to go out there. But,
it was proper Sunset.
But
it was big.
But my mind said, Kelly, you have a window of opportunity here. If you don't do this, you are going to look back until your deathbed and kick yourself in the butt.
Yeah, this was only like 3 years ago. So,
yeah. But then Cam asked me the next day. He said, all right, bro. Let's go. You're my board caddy. I said, nah. I got my shirt.
and I lost the next heat and didn't qualify. So
yeah.
We've talked a little bit on the podcast about raising kids and like how much you expose them to something or try to force them into something or not or whatever. What was your approach?
Okay.
You love surfing. You got raising him in a surf shop on the beach. What was your approach?
Yes, but it was totally up to them if they wanted to surf. You know, and then if you look at a textbook written about how I raised Cole and Cam, it's exactly how you should not do it. But the one thing that we've always had, and the key word, whether it's with your kids or with a marriage, we've always had mutual respect for each other. And if you don't have that, though, it goes south.
Good advice. Matt, can you bring that hat up that has all the names in it?
Do we have more bags to give away too?
Yeah, we're just going to pull names. I
Okay.
think. So we're going to give away this Feb Fish. Cam, do you have, what was your introduction to Channel Islands? How'd you connect with the crew?
My introduction with Channel Islands, I was with my shaper, Adam Warden, for a long time,
Oh,
AJW
yeah.
Surfboards.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and he was the best and wouldn't have been here without him. So thank you, Adam. And yeah, there was just a time I was competing and maybe just wanted to try some different equipment. And I actually hit up my good friend Nathaniel Curran. He was the team manager at the time. And I said, look, just order me 3 boards. I don't care what it costs. Like, I just want to try. I've spent my whole life. I went straight from his boards to Adam's boards. Never.
No, I got dumped.
He got dumped.
How was that conversation?
It hurt from the heart, but it didn't hurt from the wallet because I couldn't afford to keep making them that many boards.
Yeah. But yeah, then I got the 3 boards. I ended up riding one in a few contests and was doing well on them. And they got a new team manager, Brent Powers, and about after 2 months or something, he called me. He goes, would you want to ride for us? And kind of the rest is history. And it's been super fun. It was awesome just to have a refreshment. And every time I go surf, I'm riding something new and something different. And the range of product they have is amazing. And I don't know, it is cool. At the end of the day, it's like when I get a Channel Island, it's like, this is like something you dream of. So to be able to work alongside Britt Merrick and people like that, it's just like, I don't know, surreal moment, not gonna lie. So
In honor of your dad, have you ever taken one of your brand new Channel Islands and just smashed the tail straight into the ground?
No, never.
But full circle. I mean, it's kind of interesting.
That is crazy.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm hearing that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you obviously
amazing.
told me, but didn't put it together.
Well, this Feb,
Okay, so real quick though, the Feb Fish, Cam Richards is gonna pick the winner here.
I think Kelly should.
Kelly's going to pick the winner. Kelly's going to smash the winner
here's
into
board.
the ground.
Well, here's the clips of the board. Cam, we love your surfing, but Mike February is relatable. We can't do what you do. We watch Feb and we're like, looks like what I could do.
Wait,
maybe one day.
you think you can do what Michael February does?
In my mind, I'm like styling out, just go and take.
Well, that's the great thing about this board. You just think you're doing what he's doing. As long as no one's filming, you are doing what he's doing.
That's so true.
Exactly.
Do
So
not
somebody
look
in
at
this room.
Surfline Rewind.
Yeah.
So I reached out. So Devin Howard, you guys know.
Devin fucking Howard.
I was like, Devin, we're doing it with Cam in Charleston. We want to give away a surfboard. What should we give away? He's like, dude, the Feb Fish. Like, I don't know who this board is going to, but the Feb Fish is the board for that person. And I'm like, okay, cool. What size should we get that might be universal? He goes, I got one better for you. This is just a loaner for display. We'll make a custom for the winner. So the person tonight is going to win the board. We'll have a custom made to your specs, delivered down the road. And I think Kelly needs to pick the winner. One random name out of this hat, the Michael February Fish.
Wait.
All right.
Do not pick Kelly Richards.
No. All right. Let's let the Grom
The
pick it.
Grom should pick. Close your eyes.
He's gonna pick his name.
It's a Willy Wonka moment.
You better pick mine, kid. We've rehearsed.
Drum roll. Drrrr. He's working hard. He's digging deep.
I think he's trying to find his.
All right. The big reveal, Chaz Smith, the linguist.
If you can believe it, Alec Dilling won the board.
Alec Dilling. Who's Alec Dilling? Who's Alec Dilling? That's you?
Wait, no
Shut
way.
up.
I like.
You won the board.
Wait a second. Let's review the footage.
I think he won the board.
You're the judge.
He won the board. Hold on. I watch him digging around.
Alec
was
Dilling won
insane.
the board.
He was digging around.
Unbelievable.
Willy Wonka moment. This thing was full.
Congratulations. The judges have spoken.
I mean, I will say, I was sitting right there. The paper was folded totally
the feed.
tight together.
That's
There was
called
no way he read
manifesting
his
right
own
there.
name. So,
With all due.
Willy
with
Wonka.
all
I really
due
don't know what to
respect,
say.
Willy Wonka. Did you
think
never
we're all
watch
in
Willy Wonka?
disbelief.
Sometimes you win the golden ticket.
I believe in magic, okay?
Sometimes you are Charlie.
Unbelievable.
That was good.
So, we want to be respectful of the time commitment. We kind of limited this to 90 minutes, so we have 15 minutes left. I want to do a Q&A if anybody wants to queue up questions. In the Q&A, if you ask a question, we'll give you a prize pack from Marshware. So, rather than raffling them off, we'll just give them to you just for the curiosity that you have. But I have a couple of final questions before we get to the Q&A. Think of your Q&As. On kind of a personal family level, really interesting development in the Richards family, which is Cam. I think through 23andMe, you have identified that you have a sibling, an unknown sibling, previously unknown sibling.
I do. I'll make this story as quick as possible. But so yeah, I spit into that tube for 23andMe just out of curiosity. I actually was told I was maybe Indian, like Native American, and anyways, I did it. It was just some random thing. I was bored at home, and when I got the app, it said I had an aunt, and I asked him. I said, "Do you know this person?" And he's like, "No, not really. Might be someone on your mom's side, whatever." We didn't think much of it, and then probably 3 months later, I got a message in my message requests hidden folder, and I'm reading through them all and find this one and pretty much just explaining hey, I saw you on 23andMe. I feel like it's finally appropriate that I, say hello, and the story matches that you are my half brother, and from what I was told by my birth mom, blah blah blah. And I'm like, whoa. So I sat on that for 10 days, not telling him. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what was going on, and then finally I broke the news to him, and he was just as surprised as I was. And so before we did anything, I'm like, "Did you know anyone at that time?" And I messaged my new half sister. I said, "Just so we're all on the same page here, can you tell me your birth mom's name, just to make sure we're on the." She sent it, and my dad said, "Yeah, that I remember her." And so next thing we knew, we got her contact information, and I think my dad called the first thing my dad told me. He called me. He goes, "Cam, I have never spoke on the phone with a girl for 4 hours until now." And so that was the start of it. And then they came down to Murrells Inlet. And we met her and her lovely husband, had dinner with them. A couple of weeks later, their 3 beautiful daughters came down, and we all taught them how to surf. And now the Richards family has grown, and couldn't be more happy. And it's been the best thing that happened to us.
And
Did she look like you?
yes.
She looks like him. It's crazy. I'm a little bummed. She took his tall jeans. She's 6'3", had a college basketball scholarship, and then so she did good.
And it's there's no one mad at anyone because her biological mom did not tell her who I was until in the last two years, and I never knew. But we have been to a lot of girls' soccer games, and I actually went to the mall and shopped with 4 women for 5 hours.
Which is something he would have never done. So, no, it's been amazing.
Would not trade it for anything.
Was your half sister surprised, or was she looking for her biological father? Was she surprised when she submitted to 23andMe to connect the dots as well?
So she was adopted at birth by an amazing family friend. So it was very clean and good, and I think she was curious for sure. Because I think she had sisters too, right? And but no, she wasn't like looking for us.
But though in her mind, she had reached out to me first on my Instagram Messenger.
At Fido and a beer, so you don't use it.
Which is when you just put a message in a bottle to me, right? Right, and then you when her and Cam matched, because at the very first she thought that I was avoiding her, because
and then also,
but I never knew.
Yeah, and then what was also weird, the app, since we shared 25% DNA, for me it just put aunt or aunt, however you want to say it. For her it said half brother. So it was a mess up on the app. So she thought, she was a little weird. Like, she's like, you got the notification. Like, why were you not freaking out? I'm like, no, look, like, I had no idea. Like, and so, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That's
How hyped was she that her half brother is a professional surfer?
Did she see your pipe wave?
Yeah, I mean,
no, she was born and raised in Alabama. So surfing is definitely a new thing to her. But her daughters were amazing at it, and they loved it. So it's cool. Hopefully they can keep the torch going.
That's amazing. As it relates to surfing, wrap-up questions. Kelly, I'm curious, do you ever ride other shapers' surfboards?
you didn't win the Feb Fish. I'm sorry. So
No,
You don't?
I might. If I did, it was an old longboard Hurley or an old Weber. But as far as I can remember, no.
Okay.
No, but
that's a narcissist right there.
what's that word mean?
If you could get a surfboard from anybody on the planet, what would you order?
That board right there.
Would you really?
Right.
You trade him for the stinking pipe gun.
You get sick boards in the shop from a
Oh
who's who.
yeah. No,
You guys do a killer job curating, like not just international brands.
which blah blah blah. But I would probably ask my good friend Ed to shape me a board, because he shapes super nice boards, and they're a little bit different from what I shape. So it'd be fun to ride one of Ed's boards.
I think that was my dad asking you for a free board, Ed.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like you can make that happen. You can get a board from Ed, probably. Cam,
No, wait. Now, since he won the board, you have to make me a board guy.
Cam, any interest? Who takes over Village Surf Shop? Do you have any interest in working retail? Where does Village Surf Shop go from here?
Village Surf Shop will always be in the Richards family. No matter however that may turn out, it will always be with us.
Okay, beautiful.
As long as that's okay with him. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we want to hear. Have you ever worked there?
I'll say yes, and then my brother, but yeah, you've never worked there. But I've clocked in a couple hours behind the counter. I worked there during COVID a little bit, and I had one good story. I had a guy walk in with his son, and he came into the used board room, and I was helping him look at boards, and my friend Noah Schweitzer had a Mayhem shaped by Matt in there, used for sale, and I said, this board's pretty cool, and you're not going to be able to buy a board with Matt's signature on it, and he'll grow into it, and the guy's like, look at you trying to sell me like a used car. I'm like, no, but okay, fine. You know, the little kid's like, I want that board, and he points at the pipe board, and the dad goes, yeah, I think that's the board Cam wrote at pipe, right? And he looks at me, I go, yeah, that's the board I wrote at pipe. And he just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no worries. And he comes walking out with the brand new or with the used board. So,
oh man,
but no, it's fun working in there.
That's a solid used car tactic
right?
right there.
Right? But no, it's fun. The surf shop's such a good vibe in there.
Yeah.
Even when I'm home, I just walk in there, and the people that probably work there are like, why does Cam just walk in, like do like 3 laps around and like don't know what he's doing? And I just kind of walk in there. I like hanging out in there, and that's kind of the vibe of the shop. So
I'm going to open it up to questions real quick. Well, Richard put his hand up, but I don't want to step on what you're going to ask, but I do want to acknowledge when I emailed Richard and I'm like, dude, we're coming to Charleston. He's like, bro, seriously? The worst date you could have picked? That's my anniversary. Tonight,
shout out to Richard.
Is the 21st anniversary.
Nice, Richard.
Nothing says anniversary like a live podcast.
Happy anniversary, you guys. The marriage is old enough to drink at this point. What is your question, Richard?
Most memorable hurricane swell for both of you guys.
Most memorable hurricane swell from both of you guys. Do you want a marshwear pack or do you want a real water sports towel?
We'll take the marshwear.
Marshwear, Chaz.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mine
Mine
was in was in Holden Beach. Okay, and there's an inlet there that it's very, very rare it breaks, and we all surfed out there, and it looked like padang, and Cam had just got off of a boat to where, to Indonesia or
somewhere. Yeah. I think I got back from Bali. Yeah.
And Cam said, "These are the best waves that I've caught. You know this wave here is as good, if not better, than any wave. But it's such a fickle wave, and
yeah, there's going to be 25 people at the Holden Beach thing next week.
Well, so
Kane Fairclough's going to be real mad at you.
No, because if anybody goes up there with me, I had this one kid. He's like, dude, that dude with the blonde hair is dropping in on me every wave. And I said, yes, and I won't mention his name. And I said, yes, and he should, because he surfs here all the time, and they welcome us to come. But it's just like what Warner Vega told me from Puerto Rico. He said, Mita, y'all come and enjoy, but the cake is ours. Y'all enjoy the crumbs, but don't cut into our cake. And that's fair as hell.
Yeah.
The crumbs are enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine was probably, I could be wrong, I think it was called Hurricane Teddy. It was, I went to the Outer Banks. They shut down all the bridges because the waves were so big. And I was with Mason Barnes and Koa Rothman and his filmer. Koa Rothman was in the Outer Banks. Of course, he shows up, the biggest waves ever. And they shut down all the roads, so we're stuck in Nags Head thinking we can't even get to where we want to go to surf this giant swell. And somehow, some way, we found someone with a boat that came and picked us up. They picked us up on like a 50-foot contender, drove us all the way through the sound, dropped us off in Rodanthe, and we surfed in the ramps in between Avon and Rodanthe, and it was by far the biggest waves I've ever seen there. And all I had was like a 5'10" or something, and same with even Koa. We all had just short boards, but got a couple waves that day, and one of the waves was by far the biggest barrel I've ever gotten on the East Coast, and it was terrifying at the same time. And then I will say there was only about 5 or 6 of us managed to make it out and paddle out. And this one dude paddles out, and he's going crazy. He's yelling, screaming. He's all stoked. And I look, and he's riding like a 7.6 Perfection round nose. And I was like, hey, are you all right? Like, to be out here? the next wave, I see him pig dogging on the thing, and like, so it was just a cool swell, and just to have like someone from Hawaii that has rode some of the biggest waves in the world, pretty scared and being like, whoa, this is legit. That was a really cool hurricane swell, and it was cool too, like the roads being closed, and like, I don't know, just felt raw.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there was no way to get like food down there. We got like stuff on Ocracoke. We were in Avon.
Yeah.
And we like drove down.
I remember I asked like a Food Lion semi truck to give me a ride back over, and he's like, I can't do it. Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Any other questions from the audience? We've got one of the.
On my watch, but I want to know if Kelly can tell us how many motorcycles do you own now? How many motorcycles have you
We don't have time for this.
How many motorcycles do you own?
I am not a quote-unquote biker. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast that doesn't know how to fix a sandwich. And I probably own 33 to maybe 35.
Favorite bike?
We'll call it 34.
Favorite bike right now?
My first loves were my two 1968 Triumph Bonnevilles.
Mm-hmm.
But the big bikes now, because everybody wants the bike they had when they were a kid. So the BSAs and the Nortons and everything have kind of aged out. So a lot of folks want the Japanese bikes, because that's the first bike they had when it was a kid.
But what's your favorite bike?
Those and this bike here.
What is it? Norton?
No, this bike here was the fastest bike in Myrtle Beach. This is the bike that came up with the name the Widowmaker.
Oh yeah.
750cc Kawasaki triple cylinder, a 2-stroke. These things are worth like at least 45 grand now.
Wasn't Hunter Thompson riding a Widowmaker when he was riding Hell's Angels? I think he was, and I think all the Hell's Angels were laughing at him because he was on one of those. Maybe it was a British bike. I think he was on a Widowmaker.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, from point A to B, this biker would eat those bikes up. But if you're trying to go from here to the West Coast, this ain't the bike.
Do you have one?
No, I wish. It's out my price range.
Okay.
Not if you just sell the other 32 you got.
There was a question right behind Ed.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask Chaz a question.
Yeah, of course. Question for Chaz.
I loved Welcome to Paradise.
Thank you.
Curious, after it published, did you go back? Like, did you get a bunch of shit? Like, what was it like?
Let me get them just for the recording for the audience on the internet. What was the experience after you published Welcome to Paradise, Now Go to Hell, once you went back to the North Shore?
So it was not yet. It was at the publisher. I had told, so Eddie Rothman, North Shore legend. You know Eddie?
I know Eddie.
You got some Eddie stories?
He's always been super nice, respectful to me.
Great
Me and
guy.
Co are good friends. So.
Yeah.
No, he's awesome.
So yeah,
Nice to meet you.
yeah. So had told Eddie when I was writing the book. Rothman is a North Shore legend, but had told Eddie when I was writing the book, hey, I'm writing a book, and he was like, oh yeah, writing a book, it's fucking okay. But then I don't think he heard me or
Can I
knew
leave the
that I was writing a
podcast
book.
right now?
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
Oh no,
I was joking.
this story goes good. Yeah. So anyway. Somehow Scott Kahn, the James Caan's son, I can't remember how, somehow he had got a copy of it, and so called me up and said, hey, I really like this book and want to, or like the pre-published, not out yet, I want to make this. And I was like, okay, cool. Scott Kahn went up and talked to Eddie and said, hey, I got this book. And Eddie's like, what fucking book? Scott said, oh, it's Chaz Smith wrote this book. Eddie said, fucking give it to me. And so Scott gave him the unpublished copy, I got a call from, I would think I was in Aspen or something. Got a call from Eddie that night, or I got a call from Scott first, and Scott's like, Eddie asked for the book and I had to give it to him. And I was like, whoa. And then I got a call from Eddie, and Eddie was like, you fucking dead. You're not fucking Papa. And I was like, oh, it's too late. Sorry. But yeah, was scared for months. And then I think 6 months after the book came out, like maybe 6 months after it came out, Eddie called up and he said, oh, you're fucking funny. This book is fucking funny. And yeah, so I think, yeah, I've been back a bunch since then, but I think I'm fine. Eddie might still knock my head off just to do it, but I would sort of invite it because I totally deserve it. But also, I mean, in the writing, Eddie Rothman is such a character and a great guy, and I truly do. I mean, he's just, you can't stinking beat Eddie Rothman. And yeah, he and I talk every once in a while, and yeah, so I think I'm okay. Ish. You're never okay there.
I haven't read the book in a decade. I don't feel like you vilified Eddie as like you just told Eddie stories.
Yeah.
It didn't vilify him, so
No,
I don't think you could be that mad about it.
I'm good. Ish. No, you're never good. I'm not good. But
the book has been optioned a couple of times to be made into a Hollywood film, but those things Hollywood never often doesn't follow through with its promises.
Hollywood is rough.
So
yeah.
There's a potential at some point it'll get made into something. But any other questions from the audience? We have one from Chris.
Oh, yep, sure does. Do you want a marshware or a towel?
Thank you.
Good call.
Well, it's a couple towels and a hat, I believe. And then Chris, we had a question from Chris.
Cam, I know most of us surfed around you last year or so around Folly. How do you get speed on such a slow wave?
Great question. Let me commit it to the record. I was also telling Chaz, even when the waves look good at Folly, I paddled out and I'm like, it's so gutless. So the question is, how do you get speed on these waves?
Channel Island surfboard. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, equipment I think is number one. But I'd say, that's a tough question.
Sometimes, like, come from the backside of the wave, like before the peak even. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not to plug the sponsor, but it is equipment. It's not being afraid of foam. I mean, a lot of people, I know we all want to ride the short boards and do all the tricks, but it's way more fun to get a bigger board. I like quads a lot around here. That seems to help. And just the regular like epoxy foam, stringer epoxy has kind of been my favorite. Because I think some of the other epoxies float too high up, but something right in between. But yeah, I think a lot of people kind of wait for, I shouldn't be telling people this, but a lot of people wait for like the sets, and it's most of the time it's the inside double ups is where you get most of the speed from. So I'd say just looking for the double up waves, because at the end of the day, we're only getting wind swell for most of the time. So if you get two of those wind swells, you have a lot more push than just the one.
Boom. Let it hit the sandbar.
Right there.
Sneaky, sneaky. Anybody? Right here. We got a question.
Kelly, this is a question for you. When you're shaking boards, it's got to be a very intimate process. Do you know what you're making when you start making it out of blank? What's your thought process there?
All right, mine's all hand shaped, and the very most important thing is to make sure that you pick out the blank to match the board, and then you more or less are so used to that piece of foam that you know to add rocker here, add da. And so if you order a board, because I do not use the computer, as long as I know which US blank mold that I use, then that's actually 85% of the work.
Do you listen to music when you shape?
Huh?
Do you listen to music?
Yeah.
What?
I'm real hooked. This this week on a Citizen Cope radio.
Citizen Cope. Good call. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Nice.
Our buddy Matt, who books our live shows for us in the back, also books musical acts. That's his main business.
Okay.
I know he has some local bands, so reach out to Matt. He'll hook everybody up with the latest and greatest. Anybody else? Questions? We got one right there.
For Kelly, it's not a question. It's just a thank you for everything you've done for us over the years. Magic boards, driving us a contest.
Delivered.
You name it.
Thank you, Andrew. Hey.
That
and it's all been from the heart, and you the guys that were super good kids. We all had fun, so it was well worth it.
Cam, do you want to speak to that a little bit? I know your dad's been driving. He's the community leader.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. He's rubbed that off on me for the good and the bad. He loves to just show people around, and he'll do anything for anyone. And just growing up, it wasn't just me and my brother that were coming to the events. It was me, my brother, my good friend. I got my buddy Addison in the back. He grew up coming with us. Had all these guys my dad would bring around, and just anyone that needed a ride, and we had the space, my dad would make it work, and it was awesome, and it built friendships and relationships, and it's it was just crazy to think, if 2 kids wasn't enough, my dad would take on plenty more, but he did it all for just the love of it, and it's pretty cool to see people do that nowadays. I feel like it's doesn't happen as much anymore.
You don't see it, yeah. You don't.
It's but I don't know. It was a fun time back then, and yeah, I was 12 years old hanging out with a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds, but I think that kind of helped me grow up a lot faster, and yeah, so it was really cool.
We've seen it from afar. Like I said earlier, we're honored to be integrated and connected. I know I met Kai a decade ago, probably. Kai Dilling, shout out. What's up, dude? Also shapes surfboards. I know, good to see you. So honored to be able to come into your guys' community and have everybody come out and support, and Marshware to be able to come out and support the event as well. I know somebody flew down from New York just for this event. How insane is that?
Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
I mean, so that's insane. So thank you, and people spending their anniversary here. So we're honored. We're grateful. Thank you guys for opening up Head High Studio. Thank you, Channel Islands. Thank you, Marshware. Kelly, Cam, thank you.
Vayer
Watches, NVS Fins. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for a beautiful night.
Thank you all.